have simmed 50 seasons in NBA 2K22. Well, actually, I've simmed 49. This is gonna be number 50. Yes, we simmed 50 seasons of the upcoming NBA season here in NBA 2K22 to see what 2K thinks the results will be. You know, you sim one time, some funky things can happen. Now, I have all the results shaved on a spreadsheet. So I will go over all of the results, everything that has happened. For the most part, it's what you would expect in terms of MVP. You know, I'm seeing a lot of Joel Embiid's, Giannis Antetokounmpo's, Luka Doncic's, a few Jokic's, but there have been some interesting results. Some teams have won the championship in my first 49 sims. I wouldn't have expected. The sixth man of the year has gone completely not the way I thought it would, but I'm gonna share all those results with you guys at the end of this sim. And this is gonna be a fun video just to see what 2K thinks is gonna happen this upcoming season. On average, this is going to be an interesting video, and this is sim number 50. I have to mention before we get to the end of the season that my boy Jeff did help me. He simmed out a bunch of seasons for me. Thank you, Jeff. And let's finally get to these results in a second. Looks like this is the last game of the season. The Sixers are only the 5 seed in this sim. Giannis with an MVP. Let me just write this all down. Mobley, Rookie of the Year. I've seen that a lot. Cody Zeller. That might be a surprise to you guys. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Defensive Player of the Year. Most Improved, Tyrese Maxey. Okay. Budenholzer, Coach of the Year. Scoring Leader, Luka Doncic. The #1 seed in the West, the Lakers. The #1 seed in the East, the Bucks. And our champion is the 76ers over the Utah Jazz. Okay. MVP, do we think it'll be Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid? I'm going to say Joel Embiid. Yes, sir. So, boys, here is my table of data. You can see I've been tracking everything. Let's just go look at the graphs for all these things. It's going to be interesting. All right. So, after 50 simulations, Giannis Antetokounmpo has won the MVP 54% of the time. Luka Doncic 20% of the time. Joel Embiid 20% of the time. Nikola Jokic 6% of the time. So Jokic won only 3 out of 50 MVPs. But what's really weird about simming this is things were a little bit different. So in real life, I think Giannis is definitely going to be capable of an MVP type season. I feel like he'd have to go really crazy, like way above his normal standards to win MVP though. I feel like guys like Luka and Joel are going to be held to a little bit lower standard. So I think they are more likely to win MVP, but 2K does say Joel or Luka will win about 10 out of every 50. That's 20%. Jokic, I don't see him going back-to-back, even if he has another crazy season. I just feel like people aren't going to vote for him. I don't know why. I'm just not feeling it. I think Jokic was a deserving MVP, but I feel like he doesn't always get the respect he deserves. Next up, we have Rookie of the Year. You guys can see Mobley and Cunningham literally won almost every Rookie of the Year. Mobley and Cunningham, 48-48. So they literally just tied. They each got 24 out of 50 of the Rookie of the Years. One of the Rookie of the Years went to Jalen Suggs. One went to Scotty Barnes. Yeah, so 2K doesn't think Jalen Green on the Rockets even has a shot. I think in real life, Jalen Green actually has a better shot of winning Rookie of the Year than Mobley. Him and Cade, I'd say, have equal odds. Scotty Barnes is my personal favorite for Rookie of the Year, but he only won once. So not sure what that means. But after 50 sims, this is what it looks like. Sixth Man of the Year. It's one of the hardest awards to predict. You don't know who's even going to come off the bench for a lot of teams. An injury might have a bench player become a starter after 2 games. You never know. 2K thinks Andre Drummond is the overwhelming favorite to win Sixth Man of the Year. He won 74% of the sims. Cody Zeller on the Trailblazers won 18% of the Sixth Man of the Year award. So that's 9 out of 50. I mean, that's not insignificant. And then we had a bunch of guys who won it once. Kevin Love won 1 out of 50. Enes Kanter 1 out of 50. Moses Brown 1 out of 50. Tyler Hero 1 out of 50. Okay, these are just... If you told me in real life if it's going to be one of these players, I think it's going to be Tyler Hero because he has just been balling in the preseason. I know that doesn't mean too much, but he looks like he's back to form. Maybe even better than his rookie year. And I feel like Sixth Man never, ever goes to a big man. I really don't see it going to Drummond. I don't think Cody Zeller is going to win it. Kevin Love, I feel like Kevin Love's not doing it like that. Kanter, I don't know. I just don't see it. These are all big men except for Hero. I feel like this award always goes to a guard, so. Interesting that 2K thinks it's going to be Drummond. I really don't think it'll be Drummond. Here is the chart for Defensive Player of the Year. Yes, Giannis won every single time except the very first sim. On the very first sim I did, Jonathan Isaac actually managed to win Defensive Player of the Year. I don't know how that happened. He literally won 49 straight after Isaac won in the very first sim that I did. What makes this even more interesting is that I did this with injuries on, and Giannis managed to just play enough games to win this award literally every single time. I'm curious if I simmed it another 50 times, if Isaac would win none or another one, if someone other than Giannis would win it. But according to 2K, Giannis is literally guaranteed Defensive Player of the Year. Next up, we've got Most Improved Player of the Year. In most sims, Daniel Gafford ends up winning this one. Now, Gafford's already kind of a decent player, nice athletic center. Wendell Carter on the Magic wins about 5 out of 50. Precious Achiuwa wins 15 out of 50. Isaiah Roby won a couple. Bam Adebayo, that's actually an interesting one. Bam Adebayo won it twice. I really don't think Bam Adebayo is going to be eligible to win Most Improved Player because he's already really good. I know he had a little bit of a down year last year compared to the year prior. The whole kind of Heat team did, so I feel like that's more of like a return to form than like a Most Improved type thing. Tyrese Maxey on the 76ers. He won 4 out of 50. I think he's an interesting candidate, but he's going to be a second-year player. I feel like second-year guys never win this award. It's like you're expected to improve. And then Jackson Hayes on the Pelicans won 2%. Really don't see that with Valanciunas there. I think Valanciunas is a little too good for Jackson Hayes to get enough minutes to win Most Improved. Honestly, Most Improved doesn't always go to the Most Improved player. A lot of times it just goes to whoever has a bigger role. Sometimes they're like the same player. They just get more minutes, more opportunity. So this is an interesting one. I'm going to go out on a limb and bet none of the people who won it in this game are going to win it in real life. I just don't see it. Maybe Precious Achiuwa has a chance. Hopefully I said his name right. Achiuwa, I hope I said his name right. Wendell Carter, I'm not seeing it on the Magic. I feel like they're going to be pretty bad. I feel like teams with bad guard play are just not conducive to a big man succeeding. Gafford, I mean, maybe. I don't know. I feel like Most Improved, you never know who that's going to come from. But this is who 2K thinks it's going to be, so that's kind of interesting. Next up, we have Coach of the Year. Coach of the Year, this one's interesting. Obviously, in 2K, it seems like whatever team just gets like the best record ends up with the Coach of the Year. Now, I didn't realize this while I was simming it, but I'm looking at it, and Frank Vogel has not won Coach of the Year in any of these sims, so that's interesting. So I'm not sure what algorithm 2K uses to decide Coach of the Year, but Steve Nash and Chauncey Billups each won 2 out of 50. Willie Green of the Pelicans won 3 out of 50. Quinn Snyder of the Jazz, 6 out of 50. Tyronn Lue for the Clippers. The Clippers got a lot of #1 seeds in this, 8 out of 50. But the coach with the most Coach of the Years, I don't know how to say his name properly, Ime Udoka. I am sorry, I don't know how to say the Celtics coach name, but the Celtics coach won 22% of the Coach of the Years. That's 11 out of 50. Budenholzer with a clean 20%. I mean, this is kind of interesting stuff. Next up, I have the scoring leader. Now, Luka Doncic on pretty much every single season I simmed averaged over 31 points per game. If you average over 31 points per game, you're almost guaranteed to be the scoring leader in the NBA. I feel like some seasons he actually got above 35, which would be all-timer, like Harden a couple years ago. Bradley Beal won 11 out of the 50, and Damian Lillard got 1 scoring leader title. I do think Dame could win a scoring title. I think he's capable of it. I just don't see it, but I definitely think he's capable of it. Luka winning the scoring title this year would not shock me, but I do kind of feel like Porzingis is going to have a little bit of a back year, and Dallas, I think, might be a little bit more balanced on offense. Oddly enough, Bradley Beal, I also think they kind of have a lot of just okay players, not a lot of great players, but okay players on the Wizards this year. Not no other star, but just some okay guys around him. So we'll see how much Bradley Beal shares the ball with them. Doncic, I think, probably the scoring leader favorite, but who knows? Knowing the way things go in real life, it's probably going to be like Steph or somebody that 2K didn't predict, but 2K definitely thinks Doncic is the overwhelming favorite to win the scoring title this season. Okay, so I decided to track which team got the #1 seed in each conference, as well as the team that won the championship for their conference, because, I don't know, as you can see, they're actually very different charts. According to 2K, the 76ers are by far the favorite team to win not only the Eastern regular season, but also the Eastern playoffs. The Sixers won the first seed in 36% of my sims, and they won the Eastern Conference playoffs in 44% of the sims as well. So even when they didn't get the #1 seed, they were winning it a lot. The Bucks got the #1 seed quite a bit, as well as the Celtics, 32 and 26 respectively. The Bucks only actually won the East in the playoffs 14% of the time. The Celtics actually actually won more than the Bucks, even though they got the 1 seed less. So that's interesting. 2K thinks the Celtics maybe are better both for the playoffs, Sixers as well, unless Simmons really steps it up. I don't really see the Sixers winning the conference this year in the playoffs, but I do think the Sixers are probably a really big threat to get the 1 seed again. I just feel like the Simmons situation is going to figure itself out. Interestingly enough, the Heat actually won 2 out of 50, and the Hawks won 2 out of 50. Now, the team that I think is going to win the championship this year and the Eastern Conference is the Brooklyn Nets. They only won the 1 seed 3 out of 50 times, and they only won the Eastern Conference 7 out of 50 times. So 2K does not think the Nets are going to be too great, but I will say 2K does seem to overvalue big men quite a bit, and all 50 sims were done with automation on, but we were the 76ers. I have a theory game might make it easier for the user team, even with the default sliders, so there's a chance that messed up the data with the Sixers winning that many times. But I will say, having simmed this game quite a bit from my other videos, the Sixers tend to make it to the NBA Finals a lot, even when I'm not playing with them, so I don't know if that made any much of a difference, to be honest. So 2K thinks that the West is going to be a lot different than the East, as you guys can see. In the West, I had 8 different teams get the number 1 seed. There's 15 teams in the conference, so over half the teams got the 1 seed in these simulations. The teams that don't have a point for them, this blue slice is the Suns, this yellow slice is the Maverick. 2K thinks the Clippers are really going to get the number 1 seed this year, which I think is shocking. Kawhi Leonard is supposed to miss a lot of the year. I mean, Paul George is a boss. I think Paul George is pretty damn good, but yeah, 2K really thinks they got it. The Lakers got it 22% of the time. The Pelicans got it 6 times out of 50. The Jazz repeated in 5 out of the 50 as the number 1 seed. The Blazers got it 4 out of 50 times. So 2K definitely thinks the West is going to be a little bit more competitive, a lot more teams with a viable chance at the number 1 seed. I'll be honest, I would be shocked if the Pelicans got it. I would be shocked if the Timberwolves got it. I would be really surprised if the Clippers got it or if the Trailblazers got it. The Mavericks, I could just see them having one of those crazy weird years where they just get it. But that's interesting. We'll go over to the champions. So this is the people who won the conference in the playoffs. Also, 8 teams won. However, there were actually different teams than before. The Warriors ended up winning the conference in the playoffs in one of the sims. The Sacramento Kings, as an 8th seed, ended up winning the conference as well. Really surprising. But overwhelmingly, the Lakers won this playoff. They won the playoff 42% of the time, despite only getting the 1 seed 22% of the time. So yeah, that is very, very interesting. Totally different. I mean, I do think the Lakers are the favorites here. So that is that. And then we have champion. So in my 50 sims, 10 different teams won the NBA championship. The Lakers and the 76ers won 52% of the championships combined, 26% each. So 2K really does think the Sixers and the Lakers are the overwhelming favorites to win the championship. It makes sense these teams won their conferences the most. Next teams up, the Nets 12%. Again, a little surprising the Nets are that low. I think the Nets really have a great shot this year. Bucks and Celtics at 8%, Clippers at 10%, and then we have a bunch of teams that won only a couple times. The Blazers managed to win 2 out of the 50. The Miami Heat won 1 out of the 50. The Sacramento Kings, as I mentioned, won 1 out of the 50. And the Utah Jazz won 1 championship out of the 50. In real life, I really think the Nets are the favorite, followed by the Lakers. If the Sixers can get to the finals, I think that means everything went right for them. So if they do go to the finals, I actually like the Sixers over the Lakers. I think their team makes more sense in a world where Ben Simmons is playing well. But yeah, this is really, really interesting. I would be shocked to see Philly make it that far with the Nets going there. But I do think if Philly does make it, that's a great sign for them. Surprisingly, no Denver Nuggets championship. They have Jokic. Bucks only winning 4 out of 50 is surprising to me. Giannis, obviously the game can't account for this yet, but if you guys have watched him preseason, Giannis looks like he's revamped his jumper, man. If Giannis has a dangerous jumper, could be good, could be bad. You know, if he takes a lot more jumpers because his jumper gets better, he will be taking less paint shots. That might hurt them overall, but obviously it's never a bad thing to improve as a player. It'll make him more dangerous at the end of games. But yeah, this is who 2K thinks will be the champion. Now let's go look at Finals MVP, because a lot of different players won Finals MVP. And finally, we have Finals MVP. Now, 14 different players managed to win Finals MVP over my 50 sims. So real quick, I'm just going to say Jimmy Butler, De'Aaron Fox, Donovan Mitchell, their teams only won the title once. So that's those are 3 out of the 14, the one-time winners. Now let's talk about some more interesting ones. LeBron James won 24% of the Finals MVPs. Anthony Davis won 2. Pretty much means 12 out of the 13 times the Lakers won, LeBron won MVP. 1 out of the 13 times Davis won MVP. For the Sixers, 11 out of the 13 times they won, Joel Embiid with a Finals MVP. 2 out of the 13 times they won, Ben Simmons with an MVP. There's some interesting ones. When the Clippers won the championship, Paul George won 3 out of their 5 Finals MVPs. Kawhi Leonard only took 2. When the Celtics won the Finals, it was actually split 50-50 between between Tatum and Brown in terms of who would win the Finals MVP. When the Nets win the championship, James Harden wins MVP just about every time, 5 out of the 6. On the other one, obviously Kevin Durant won it. And when the Bucks win, it's always Giannis. Damian Lillard always gets it if it's the Blazers. Obviously, I don't think McCollum's going to win Finals MVP if they go all the way. It's going to be Lillard. And those were my findings, y'all. This video took a long time. On average, it probably was about 4 minutes per sim, so it was about 200 minutes, a little over 3 hours of simulating, logging data, all of that fun stuff. If you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like below, and we will sim the playoffs 100 times when we get to the playoffs. If you guys enjoyed this video, smash the like button, guys. Comment, and please subscribe. For those of you who aren't subscribed, you're hurting my feelings, and I don't like having hurt feelings. It's not cool. Peace!